Good morning, everyone. Sway Money here, and welcome back to another episode of Hack My Labor, the Starbase tutorial series that makes you feel like a real space mechanic while teaching you cool things. Today we're going to finally explore some mining lasers. With the extra battery and generator power we've installed, I think we're finally ready. We'll also create a mining mode that automatically sweeps the lasers back and forth for you to make mining a little bit easier. As always, remember to hit the like button if you're enjoying this series to help out with the algorithm, and hit subscribe to help me hit that magical 1,000 sub goal. You can also follow me on Twitch if you want to watch me figure this stuff out live. That's enough of that, let's see what we have here. First off, you might notice that I have a laborer module listed here as not reachable. Let's roll the clip from Twitch and see what happened while I was testing things out for this very episode. After floating around in the void for a few minutes, I had to insurance transfer home since I couldn't move or see anything. And now my Twitch Frankenstein laborer is not reachable. I sadly haven't heard anything back from multiple reports yet, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to recover that ship. If anyone else out there has had a similar issue, please send any details you can to the devs via the F1 feedback tool so we can help track this issue down so it doesn't happen in the future. I'm now terrified of losing my YouTube laborer as well, but the show must go on. So research isn't actually too bad for the mining laser and ore collector, but just know that you'll need some ores from outside the safe zone to craft them. They aren't super cheap, but I think they're still worth a buy on the auction house. At about 26k a piece for 2 mining lasers, 2k for an ore collector, and 5k a piece for 3 utility tool bases, you're looking at about 70k for most of what we need, give or take depending on the current prices. On top of all that, we're going to need 6 utility tool and rail cannon capacitors, 2 turret turntable, 2 turret cradle advanced, 1 fixed weapon mount 2, and 2 large hardpoints. We'll start by installing the hardpoints. Remove these 2 192 by 192 plates on the top and bottom of the beam, and then remove the cargo crate below them. Place your large hardpoint onto the beams like this and bolt it down. We need some power for our mining lasers, so go inside the ship and run a cable from under the hardpoint to the duct right next to it. Now we can place the cargo crate back into its spot and auto bolt it down. You may run into a durability error after auto bolting the crates down. If you do, unbolt a few of the batteries and either auto bolt them again or manually bolt them until everything is green again. Let's get at the top of the ship with 4 36 by 96 centimeter plates, 4 24 by 144 centimeter plates, and 4 12 by 96 centimeter plates. You can also use 2 72 by 144 plates to replace the inside plate we removed. Since we have a cable in the way, the old 192 by 192 plate won't fit anymore. If you haven't already, verify you have data on your hardpoints. Alrighty, easy peasy. We have our mounting points for our mining lasers now. Let's assemble and mount them. Assembly for everything is almost identical to the material point scanner. We'll start with 2 of our utility tool bodies and put 2 capacitors in each of them. Then we add the mining laser to the front of each utility tool body and auto bolt all this together. That's all there is to assembling our lasers. We're going to be using the advanced turret cradle to future-proof this build. Since turntables can be wonky sometimes, we'll attach the turntable to the turret cradle first. You'll probably need to grab the center piece of the turntable and not the outside base in order to get it to snap together correctly. Pay attention to the red arrow on the turntable, since when we mount the laser to this, we'll want it to be aiming the same direction as that arrow. Auto bolt these together and then snap the mining laser into the cradle. One more auto bolt and this is ready to be mounted on our ship. Make sure the red arrow is pointing forward and grab the turntable base in order to snap the assemblies to our new hardpoints. Auto bolt that sucker down and test for data. There we go, mining lasers are installed. Now mining lasers feel pretty pointless without an ore collector, so let's get that put together and mounted as well. The process should be familiar by now. Place the 2 capacitors into the utility tool body and then attach the ore collector to the front. The fixed weapon mount should snap to the bottom and you can auto bolt everything together. I think a really nice and easy place for our ore collector is right under our ship where this tiny radiator is. Lucky for us, we installed a ton of radiators with our generator upgrades, so we should be able to get rid of this one. Unbolt and pocket the radiators and then bolt the ore collector in its place. Looking great! All that heavy lifting should be done, but we still have some details to finish up. First detail is going to be getting our dashboard ready. Let's craft 3 hybrid button and 2 control table angle support 45 degree. These control table plates can be bolted to other plates to transfer their power and data. Let's mount these on the side of our dashboard like this so we can put our 2 new buttons off to the sides. Although you can bolt these down from behind, that will leave really long bolts sticking out of the screens on the dashboard. Instead, we'll just take off this top screen for a second, add 2 bolts up here, and then replace the screen. Do the same thing on the other side and bolt our hybrid buttons to these 2 control tables. We'll name one of the buttons button state field to miner, and the other one we'll name sweep. We also need to add an extra generator button that'll override our current generator throttling script and give us enough power to mine. I'm going to repurpose our generator button up front for that. We can add another button that will be our main power switch somewhere else, since we really never need to turn off the power while our generator YOLO script is running. Rename the generator field of this button to mine power. Then just install our extra hybrid button into the control socket on the propellant tanks behind your chair. Name the button state field to be generator so it'll act just like our old main power button. I think it's time to write some YOLO. Let's start by moving all of our YOLO chips except for our generator script into the racks up front. We're not going to be editing these anytime soon. We're just going to use a single YOLO chip for right now, so install a new chip into one of the open sockets. The script is longer than the ones I usually write, but it should be pretty readable, so let's get through what it's doing. Line 1 is checking if the sweep button is on. If it is, we go to line 2. Otherwise, we set :mine rot to 5, and then we go back to line 1 again. Mine rot is what we'll name the rotation field of the mining laser turntables. So if sweep is off, we'll point the laser towards the center of our ship's view. Line 2 does two things. First, it checks if :mine rot is 5 and sets it to 0 so we can start our sweep. After that, we go to line 3 if mine rot is 0, or we go to line 4 if it's anything else. Line 3 and 4 are pretty similar. They check the current miner rotation, and if it's equal to 0 or 10, it sets it to the opposite value. So once the miner rotates to 10 degrees, we'll set the rotation back to 0 and wait for it to actually rotate to that value. Then on both lines, we just go back to line 1 and do the whole thing again. Let's go up front and rename some things so we can test this out. Pull out your universal tool in data mode with U on the turntable base, and we'll change the turret rotation field to mine rot and the turret current rotation field to mine cur rot. Target velocity is how fast you want the sweep to happen. I feel like 0.3 is a pretty good value, but feel free to adjust this to your liking. Do these changes on both turntables. Now if we left things like this, both lasers would turn the same direction when they sweep, which isn't what we want. We want them to cross each other. One trick we can use that doesn't require any YOLO at all is to just flip the min and max values on the right side turntable. Go back into the right side turntable and change the max rotation value to be -180 instead of 180, and then change the min rotation to be 180 instead of -180. Since we're up here, we might as well finish renaming things. Open the universal tool onto the mining laser tip and rename the mining laser on field to miner, and change the mining laser beam length value to 20. Then open the universal tool on the turret cradle and set the turret pitch value to be -14. This is another value you can play with if you want your lasers to be angled up or down a little more or less. Just be careful because your miner will do damage if the laser hits your ship while you're outside the safe zone. Make sure you test out your angles completely with sweep enabled before you leave the safe area. Now we can hit the sweep button on our dash and you should see the lasers above you sweeping back and forth. Awesome! Let's hit our miner button. It works! Uh-oh, look how fast the battery is draining. This isn't going to last at all. We can fix this really quick. Head to the back of our ship and start editing the generator script. You can highlight the whole line of code and copy it with Control-C, and then paste it with Control-V on line 2. Now we can add a quick check on the first line. We look for the mine power button, and if it's on, we set the generator to 100%, and then just go back to line 1. If the mine power button is off, we go back to using our normal generator script that will decrease the generator based on our batteries. Now we can test everything again, and we should get much better results. We just need to make sure the mine power button is on and let the generators charge up. Turn the miner on now, and our battery is holding steady. Turn on and off sweep to make sure the lasers go back and forth, and then recenter when you turn it back off. And that's all there is to setting up a pretty simple mining laser. Not gonna lie, I almost completely forgot about the ore collector. My original idea was just to name the ore collector's toggle on field to be miner so it would turn on with the lasers. I figured it would keep things simple for our first mining laser setup, but that actually uses more power than our generators can produce. Let's just add an extra button under our sweep button that will turn on and off the ore collector instead. Craft yourself another hybrid button and control table angle support. Place the control table under our sweep button and bolt it down by removing the ISAN screen. Then bolt down the button to this plate and rename the button state field to collect and change the button style value to 1. Now we just need to rename the ore collector. Rename the toggle on field of the ore collector to be collect, and then adjust the power value to be whatever you like. 6,000 is the maximum, and from my understanding will support 3 mining lasers, so you'll probably be fine setting this value to 4,000. I set mine to 6,000 just for simplicity, but you can fine tune the value if you want to save yourself a little more power. Obviously, it's time to test this in the field, so get out there and start eating asteroids. I hope this was helpful. If it was, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions or suggestions. I stream every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday on Twitch, where I do a lot of the investigation work on these tweaks. There's a link down below if you want to follow me there. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next one, but for now, please take it easy.